Harry Truman was president when we opened this restaurant. My grandfather moved here from Brooklyn, New York in 1949. We took a bus up to Phoenix and landed at around 16th Street, McDowell area. He went into a restaurant that was at 1521 East McDowell Road, and then within a few hours, he bought the restaurant on a handshake. The name Miracle Mile comes from the development of the land from 16th Street to 24th Street along McDowell Road. It was kind of like the dead end, if you will. I did start working at the Christown location when I was 10 years old. I started serving coffee on Saturday mornings. I wasn't tall enough to see over the counter, so I had to stand on a milk crate. I did my homework on a pickle bucket behind the serving line. That was my upbringing, was in the restaurant. So, you know, we had two parents that worked there daily, and that was just a part of my upbringing and my sense of normality. My grandfather decided that he was going to work in the restaurant business and own a restaurant business because that's where he felt his comfort zone was. So he was the first one to bring the true New York style hot dog to Phoenix. He brought the East Coast delicacies, this pastrami, the corned beef, the brisket. Nobody really in this city really knew what that was.
I'm born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona. And since my very first hot dog I can think of is the Miracle Mile at the old Christown location. I remember getting old enough to where I finally ordered, moved on from the hot dog and the basic, grilled cheese that we would get, and moved on to the straw sandwich, which is like almost like a rite of passage.
Our straw sandwich has been our best seller for 70 years. So that's the hot pastrami, the hot sauerkraut, the melted Swiss cheese.
I always order a pastrami sandwich, no onions.
I'm an onion roll girl.
Today I went with the plain bread, but usually the onion roll is where it's at.
No, I like the rye.
And how do you
grilled rye. It's got to be grilled.
We sell over 3,000 pounds of pastrami every single month. St. Patrick's Day is our busiest day of the year, simply because we've been known as having the best corned beef and cabbage in the valley.
I like the chicken noodle soup the best. My favorite thing is strawberry milkshake. When you get the kids' meal, you can get a ticket and you get a prize and a cookie.
That pink ticket is valid for a cookie and a prize after they've eaten. We want to give the parents an incentive to kind of hold ransom until they eat. The cool thing is that people always have a Miracle Mile story to share.
My grandparents came to Miracle Mile. My parents took me to Miracle Mile.
It's like the tagline from the old TV show Cheers, where everyone knows your name.
Yeah.
You come into a place and it's familiar, and you always have that restaurant that you go to because they know you, and so you feel like you're always getting something a little extra special.
Somebody always comes up to you, whether it's Josh or George. How are you doing? Nice to see you.
I think the three things that really make us different is the quality, and the consistency, and the service.
I love going down the line to all the staff. They're such a lovely crew. And they remember us, and I tell Martine every time onion roll, but he knows. He knows it's going to be on onion.
Our two head chefs have been with us for 40 years, and the reason why they stay is because we treat them like family.
So many people are from other places. They're from Chicago, they're from New York, New Jersey, from other places, and so they come here looking for a taste of what they grew up with. And so I think that Miracle Mile was able to serve, those people who are looking for those flavors that they otherwise couldn't find here. So to me, Miracle Mile isn't just a restaurant, it's a part of my heritage, it's a part of being a Phoenician.
I would hope that my grandfather would look at us and say, yeah, you guys are doing a great job and living a dream and carrying on a legacy that was brought to him, and he touched so many lives, and it was, it's an important part of our family legacy as well to carry on a daily basis.
We are less than 2 hours north of Phoenix, just off East Highway 260. On one side of the road, desert brown. On the other, lush green, covered by a canopy of cottonwoods.
This vineyard is a Petit Syrah, and it already started to bud, and also it starts making clusters right away.
It's under this white canopy where Ignacio Mesa tends his vines.
This is a little clusters right here forming, right here, and also right here.
He says he'll start to see grapes in about a week, and in a month, the vines will reach up nearly 2 feet.
They grow very fast.
These 10.5 acres make up Clear Creek Winery. But the land wasn't always so ripe. It was originally used as a horse and cattle pasture dating back to 1875. That all changed when IGNACIO bought the property in 1999 and started plowing.
When I started doing that, one of my neighbors that lives next door here, he asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, "You're tearing up the place." I told him, "Well, I'm going to plant some wine grapes."
And that was the start of the first vineyard in Camp Verde. Not only is it an organic estate winery, it's also a sustainable farm.
Right after harvest, and we plant crops that put nitrogen into the soil.
The property came with water rights to West Clear Creek. IGNACIO uses it to fill a fish pond from which he irrigates the vineyard with the now nitrogen-rich water.
You're going to be drinking a wine that doesn't have a lot of sulfites in it, and it's going to taste better because of that.
And of course, you can't have a farm without a few working animals. He uses geese and chickens to eat the weeds and bugs.
And I also have 2 Great Pyrenees dogs that I use to protect my geese and the chickens from the raccoons and the coyotes. I put everyone to work.
They all play their part in protecting the grapes.
Winemaking starts on the vine and not in the winery. You cannot make good wine with bad grapes.
So this is nice and fresh, it's crisp, fruit forward, it pairs well by itself.
In the packed tasting room, wine lovers are eager to taste Clear Creek's latest vintage.
Very, very nice on the palate. Very bold. It has a really nice, it just grabs the taste buds right at the back of your tongue, and just refreshing. Perfect on a hot afternoon.
It's the right blend of Arizona sun, soil, and science.
The book study is one thing, the farming and the winemaking is a different thing. So you learn as you go.
Tiger Splash is a wonderful opportunity to see a tiger being a tiger. That is hunting. Now, they can hunt toys or they can hunt people. It's their choice. If they hunt the toys, they can do whatever they want to with the toys, use their teeth and claws, it makes no difference.
The staff is actually jumping in the water, playing and enticing the tiger to jump after them, using toys, using bodies, and the tiger's just playing. That's what it is. They're just enjoying what they're doing at the time. You'll never see tricks on demand at the park. We don't believe in that. You know, the shows are just expounding on the animal and their instincts and their fun, and so we turn it into a show and have fun with it.
There it is. If you play with someone, they tend to like you as long as you don't offend in some other way. So we play with the tigers.
I would say that was a first for me.
Did you see how you jumped?
Yes,
I did too.
Well, being that close to a tiger, it's frightening. I mean, because your perception of this is a predatory animal. These animals are going to kill you.
Right, and look how close you were. And at the same time, only a few minutes before, you saw us playing with a tiger in a way that is not supposedly humanly possible.
Okay, well, let me just ask you that real quickly. So you and these other employees are in this area with the tigers, playing with them, and none of you seem nervous. How is that possible?
Well, we need to be afraid or nervous when we need it, but we didn't need it.
Yeah, but
it's
how?
a tool.
But how can you ensure that that tiger is not going to eat you for lunch or dinner?
Well, we made an agreement.
You and
they
the
sign
tiger.
a contract, and they say, "Thou shalt not eat staff." Playing and hunting for tigers is the same. So they have to make a decision not to hurt us, and they do. All they have to do is not use the teeth and the claws and not hit too hard. And we found over the years, which has been over 20 years now that we've been doing Tiger Splash, we've never found a tiger that wanted to hurt us during Tiger Splash. But so far, so good. It doesn't make it 100% safe, but it's pretty close now.
It's a fun show. Children 2 years old to seniors are just enthralled with the show. It's fun.
Well, that was a pretty amazing show that we got a chance to see.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, everybody should come out and see it for themselves, because the feeling when you're here, you become a kid, don't you?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
We don't have any adults here. everybody's a kid, because that's the best way to live, isn't it?
I've always been a kid.
Good.
Kid at heart, doesn't
That'll
matter.
work. There it is! Tiger Splash! Good job, guys. Well done.
A lovely, small town nestled beneath the towering trees of Arizona's pine country. Williams is chock full of unique experiences that you, your friends, and family will remember for a lifetime. Just west of Flagstaff on I-40, the area is often referred to as the gateway to the Grand Canyon. And while that beautiful, breathtaking giant hole might be your grand destination, the Arizona Highways TV crew has learned that taking some time to stop and enjoy the journey is equally rewarding. Are you a Route 66 buff? Williams has more than 6 blocks of historic buildings and shops filled with memorabilia and trinkets. Just remember not to shop until you drop. Take some time to soar on a zipline over Grand Canyon. Over Grand Canyon Boulevard, that is.
It's great for families. We've had kids from 4 all the way up to 80 years old, so. Last year we had a 9-year-old boy. He liked it so much he convinced his grandma to let him go on it 36 times.
Okay, I hear you. Not everyone gets their kicks off Route 66. So if your preferences veer more to the sounds of heavy metal,
Look at that!
All right.
I'm getting pretty
now that
good.
you're an expert, you want to see if you can do the balls?
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah!
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah, that was a 3-pointer.
then we have the ride for you on a full-size Tonka truck.
It's almost a big sandbox for us here, you know. Playing, you know, when you're kids, you play in the sandbox, you run your toys around there, and this is just a big sandbox for adults.
Mean machines are not for everyone, and we get it. We see those memes you post of cute animals on social media. And guess what? We love them too. So get your camera ready. We will create plenty shareable memories with darling deer,
I am the most popular girl on the playground.
crazy Codys,
And that's Louise. Louise, what are you doing? Louise, get off of my neck.
and a kissing camel.
Oh, that was a good one.
Moments that will make an incredible Insta story.
The coatimundis we found, this time we found them in Texas. We have the white-nosed coatis and the mountain coatis. And the mountain coatis are from South America, and they live in the mountainous region of South America. When we purchased the farm in 1987, there were about 80 fallow deer and a few sika deer, some whitetail, tons of goats, a couple of miniature donkeys, but we've added the camel and bison, and the miniature cows, the wallabies, the coatimundis, the marmosets, and the talking birds.
Hello!
So we sort of turned it into a zoo.
Now, some of you might say, hey, Robin, cuddly animals are cute and all, but I like to walk on the wild side. Williams does too. Where else can you get close to animals like bears, wolves, bison, and sheep in their natural habitat? After an exciting day creating your own Williams experience, the adventure doesn't have to stop when the attractions, shops, and parks close. Why not escape the ordinary and spend the night in a caboose?
Both of the cabooses had just been brought in prior to us arriving here. This one I think came from the train yards in Missouri, and they're both 1929s.
Just so unique and different. We have people of all ages that are really interested in it, from children to, we had an 80-year-old woman whose dream was always to sleep in a caboose, so she was up in the top bunk there and happy as could be.
Americana, e-ticket rides, animal kingdoms, and one-of-a-kind accommodations. Who needs an amusement park with a mouse when you have Williams? Downtown Oatman, Arizona, known for the wild burros that freely roam the streets, and for the Oatman Hotel, the oldest two-story adobe building in Mojave County. It was built in 1902, but it's who stayed here in 1939 that has really given the hotel and the town something to talk about.
We're famous for having Clark Gable and Carol Lombard spend their wedding night upstairs.
The honeymooners were among Hollywood's elite. Gable was on a production break from Gone with the Wind.
The story is they were married in Kingman. I believe in those days as well as now, famous people kind of like to get away from, you know, the hustle and bustle, and particularly the paparazzi. Now, our understanding is that they didn't stay here any longer than that night.
The pair continued on to the Biltmore Hotel in Phoenix, staying in room 1201, now known as the Clark Gable Room.
Although they did come back because Clark Gable liked to play poker with the minors.
You can no longer rent rooms at the Oatman Hotel, but you can get a peek inside this small love nest. And thousands come to see it just as it was. Now, the room isn't exactly what you'd call a luxury suite, even by 1939 standards.
I'm sure that there were thousands of places that they could have gone otherwise, but it was a hideaway. And I'm sure you go in there and it certainly was cozy. 2 lovebirds was probably all they needed.
Right in the heart of Oatman, Arizona.
Mireille here is going to teach me how to do a floral arrangement.
Yeah, because everybody loves flowers.
Everybody loves flowers.
So today we're gonna whip up a bouquet. I went very simple white. It's spring.
I love tulips. These are my favorite flower, if anybody would like to know.
In this bouquet, what we're gonna do is, it's almost like the pitcher's gonna pour out some flowers, right? What I love about tulips is that they go at an arch. So what I would love for you to do is go ahead, figure out what tulip you want as the point, and have it go the direction like it's spilling out.
We're putting everything in the vase prior to putting the water in.
We are.
So greens and flowers go first, then water?
Pretty much. Because if you add the flowers, you're gonna overflow the water. I mean, if you add the water.
Add the water to the vase first, then I put the flowers in.
It's just how I do it, but it's however you want to do it. All right, so I think we need a couple more tulips right here.
And I will take these off. That's
Absolutely.
Okay? That's all right, okay.
And they're gonna be a little shorter, so you might have to trim.
Let's see how this looks. That's taller.
Too tall.
Too tall.
Trim with your knife.
What has been the response so far to the whole bar none concept?
It's been awesome. We've had a lot of people, they really love the concept. So people can come here, they can order a bouquet for somebody's birthday and then head on down to get a card at Prickly Pear. Or for, what do we do? For Valentine's Day, we had the guys go get a beer while they waited for the bouquet to be made. So we're gonna do some shorties in here.
Shorties.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so, we only want
So
3,
I'm gonna have you
though.
trim this a little bit.
I'm already being scolded a little bit. Is that
All
better?
right, so she needs to come out here. All girls are flowers.
Is that too short?
That's perfect. So we'll just do one more here, and then we would be done.
Okay.
So then we have
What do you
this
think?
sweet
Does that look
tulip
okay?
left over. I think it looks good.
I'm feeling pretty good about
And
myself
here's our
today.
leftover because there were 10. Were
Right.
there 9, 10?
Cheers.
Cheers.
My name is Dan Simonis. I'm a singer-songwriter. I came to Bisbee because New York City had gotten to a point where it had ceased being a place to develop art, in my opinion. It had become so expensive and so much like an outdoor mall. And all the artists that I knew, all the playwrights and the songwriters and the painters and poets had all left. They'd all moved out. So I started looking for a place where I felt that you could actually have the time to create and you wouldn't have the economic pressure to have to work all the time just to be there. I actually found Bisbee in a book called The 100 Best Art Towns in America. I drew a big circle around the Southwest. We went to Marfa, Texas. We went to La Mesilla, New Mexico. We went to Taos. We went to Santa Fe. We went to Silver City, New Mexico. But in the end, Bisbee was the only one that actually felt like a living, breathing art culture, where you had artists that were not necessarily painting or creating things solely to sell. You have the ability to do your art. It's a great place to develop it.
Hello, gorgeous! You look marvelous for a century plus. But let's face it, you really are just a kid in state years. For being one of the new kids on the block, you sure have come a long way, baby. Once upon a time, you were known for your Wild West ways. Today, you are definitely wiser, more modern, and refined. You know, we love your laid-back style. But your adventurous side, well, that really excites us. On February 14th, while the rest of the country waits for their love connection, Arizonans know they have already found their Valentine's state and have an even bigger reason to celebrate. Happy birthday, Arizona! You have never looked better.